Meetings with the Southlanders. Stories of memory, place, and beauty.
Yeah, that's just going on the border of the Southlanders, isn't it, here, sort of thing?
Well, Southland, what's Kingston Lane?
Kingston Lane's there.
Oh,
that's Kingston.
Southwick on the other side there.
Yeah.
So Southlanders would be what, this square here?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, sort of.
I don't know
From there.
Yeah, from Crown Road area, that's it, from that bit there, because...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from that area there, this
There's
bit.
not much
Crown
there now,
Road.
so to kill off Southland, and then we know where there to come.
They'll say that school's about the only thing that exists still by the looks of it. That's actually another church, because that's the old St. Jesse Julian's Church, isn't it? There.
Well, this map was before 1957. Because Crown Road and Nursery Close, this area here, was developed in about 1957,
Was it?
1960. So.
I was a kid, but I mean, all the kids used to play out in the streets in those days. That area, as we said earlier, was all orchards and market gardens.
When sort of the Nursery Close and Crown Road, the bungalows were built about 1956, 57, when everybody moved in, they were all young families. And funnily enough, people are still living there. They had their families, now they're old age RAPs now. And we used to, in the early 60s, we were at everybody's house playing, and there was no locking the doors. Nobody locked their doors. And,
A lot of people, I think, came from London after the war, or came down here during the war. They'd worked in war industries, And then, of course, there was a lot of bomb damage after the war, a lot of housing. People had come back from the forces were demobbed, and there was a lot of people around, so there was a shortage of housing. Happened in Brighton as well. Brighton, there was a lot of shortage of housing, and they built a lot more public housing. Went all the way up through into the 60s. Huge. There was a big programme.
Now, I was very acquainted with people I knew in the Medway towns, and each town, like this place here, they had a place called the Union, which where Southland Hospital is now. It used to be the old workhouse. The one at Cheltenham was exactly the same. But you had a fraternity of people, like tramps, but not always tramps. Some of them used to be rather unkempt, others were quite well dressed. But there's odd jobs here and everywhere. But they always got a night's sleep at the Union. But they had to do a certain amount of work. I'd have to take coals around the wards, a bit of gardening, that sort of thing, to get a meal and a night's kip. And they were sort of tramps in a way, but they would knock on people's doors. And I've actually seen them when I've come across early in the morning, coming from the Union, where they've had a night's kip and they go off somewhere else. But on the way, you see, they used to knock on people's doors, begging. Well, if they've got good welfare anywhere, they put a mark on a gate or a door to let the tramp know they was well looked after. It was sort of a code sort of thing. Anyway, but a lot of people don't realise it, but in Southland's Hospital, the old part there, when the main entrance is, there's a jail there. A lot of people don't realise, but it's still there today, where the old building is. So if any of the tramps got a bit obstropolous, they used to lock them up and send them on the way next morning, that sort of thing. But everyone at the 10 church, whether they like it or not, that's the old St Giles's church, that sort of thing. And I've only learned all this from various people, but that's about all I really know, in a way, just by travelling backwards and forwards. Never ever thinking that one day I'll be living here. No, which happens. See? I was a prisoner of war during the war. When I come back home, the wife and I, we decided to go into the licence trade. See? And we had various pubs. And then all the family moved this way, and we eventually did. And I've been here 22 years. So I've seen how it's changed. But that was, to me, the beginnings of Southlands Hospital, because I remember them building it about in the 50s sometime, you know. So that was a lot of old memories.